the time capsule-like effect of the place that it just looks as it has for a long time. Havana's kids seemingly oblivious to the mess around them. Small mercy, maybe, because their world, the one Fidel Castro leaves behind, is neither the utopia of equality he once envisioned, promised, nor the new Cuba that is supposed to be more open, more prosperous. Their Cuba is stuck. A Cuba preserved, if you will. That, in a way, is what draws them by the busload at the University of Havana, a place viewed as the grounds where revolutionary goals were groomed. It's what's always made this place a key stop on any good revolutionary tour. The monuments of might always picture-ready. They come to see where Fidel Castro's ambitions were crafted, right here under the big trees. Actually, under this one, on this bench, beside that man right there, Max Lesnick.
And then we start the first small revolution in Havana.
On this bench?
In this bench, in 1947, the beginning of 1948.
The issue then was bus fare and a proposed 1-cent hike. It was a lot of money, and Fidel Castro and his friends were livid. Lesnick says they hung on his every word, that one look at Castro and the feeling was he'd either be a great leader or killed young.
That's right, that's right. It was my impression, and the impression of a lot of people that look him. It's not easy to understand that now, but all the Cubans of my generation have in Fidel confidence that he will be the leader of the new revolution in Cuba.
So lots of admiration for Castro, but loyalty is complicated. Lesnick is this day just a tourist. He visits Cuba often, only he no longer lives here, decided long ago he had to get out.
Fidel did in his life what at that time was necessary, inclusive the relation with the Soviet Union was a necessity of the Cuban Revolution. This is the reason why I left Cuba.
Funny thing about this campus, though, is that the Fidel Castro grip has remained so strong on the students. Another bench, another lawyer in training, another Castro encounter. Randy Perdomo, president of the Student Union, one of the last to really sit and talk with Fidel Castro. Maybe intimidated at the start, but by the end of the visit, clearly enchanted.
I was closer to Fidel than I am to you now, and I felt like I was in a dream.
This is an interview the Cuban authorities really wanted us to do, eager for us to see the reach of an icon on the young, a reach that in Perdomo's case seems real enough.
I think Fidel has something that also knits the nation together. He has created unity as much in Cuba as he has globally.
For all the glowing words you do and will hear now about Fidel Castro, about the revolution, it is also time for real reflection in this country, and some of the conclusions, it seems, aren't all that comfortable. That's you? Certainly not the conclusions of a man whose loyalties were clear so early on. There he is, a teenage Manuel Juan Somoza at a revolutionary camp with Fidel Castro. Somoza says he had no choice but to follow, then became part of what he called Generation Revolution, those tasked with making Castro's vision real. Nearly 1 million strong now, a generation nearing retirement and in a stage of rethinking. Somoza wrote of it in his book, Tales from the Belly of the Beast, the story of sacrifices he and others like him made. Do you think your generation maybe followed too blindly?
Buena parte del tiempo, sí.
For a large part of the time, yeah. A large part of the time, yeah. There wasn't time to think, yeah, for sure.
And what's the cost of that?
Bueno, Hoy hay resultados.
Well, we've kept our national sovereignty. The social principles have been maintained, but the level of living standards never developed to the extent we had always imagined they would have.
Sin embargo, el nivel de vida general.
Somoza says he can't stop wrestling with the dilemma of doctors. Cuba is fiercely proud of its education system, of having far more doctors per capita than Canada, of encouraging those doctors to stay in Cuba. Yet their reward for that is a pension of $15 a month.
Y que a la hora del resumen, a la hora final de su
When
vida,
he comes to the end of his life and is only receiving his pension, I believe this is disastrous, at least in my point of view.
Looking back, the sacrifices he says those in his generation made can now sting, especially when they look around and wonder if it was worth it.
yo pienso que mi generación quiso cambiar el mundo.
I believe my generation wanted to change the world. We tried. And those who want to try to do that today need to know that it costs something. It costs your health. It costs your family. It means you need to deny yourself many things.
Esta familia.
And of Fidel Castro and a conversation Somoza never got to have, what would he have said to him if he'd had a chance to look him in the eye?
Me hubiera gustado.
I would have hoped that we had had better conditions for our country. And I wish that you had made the decision to leave power sooner. Of the many things that I would want to tell him, I would say that.
It's tricky to still respect someone but still sting with regret at the cost of that respect. But a new day, back on that campus of the University of Havana. Those same big trees shade a new generation of young minds as they dream and plot. Look carefully, and you'll see revolutionaries of a different kind here now, including Claudio Hernandez. He won't allow himself to follow blindly, not as attached to the memory of Castro, and not afraid to say so, not afraid to want more.
I think I need other kind of leader for doing something more productive for the people live in Cuba right now. It's different moments for the Cuban people right now. The young people, the people in Cuba is ready for this.
His revolution, he says, looks like good jobs to keep Cubans at home, looks like good relationships with the rest of the world, looks like Cuba no longer feeling like an underdog, just freer, stronger, a Cuba shedding its old shackles. Adrienne Arsenault, CBC News, Havana.